The gates of the academy loomed before him, towering and cold, a stark symbol of what lay ahead. His heartbeat quickened as he walked through, each step carrying him into a world governed by rigid rules and unyielding discipline. The air inside felt different, heavy with tension and expectation, as though the walls themselves were watching. Before he could gather his thoughts, a sharp voice pierced the silence. "Newcomer, halt!" Turning, he saw 5 students standing together, each radiating an air of dominance. One of them, a girl with icy eyes and a confident smirk, stepped forward. "You're late. In this academy, that's the first mistake." A ripple of murmurs passed through the crowd, their faces a mix of curiosity and amusement. His fists clenched at his sides. He wasn't here to bow to anyone's authority. Inside, the headmaster stood at the front of the grand hall, her presence commanding. Her voice carried an edge that silenced the room. "This is not a place for the faint-hearted. Here, you'll either prove your worth or be cast aside." He scanned the faces around him, noting the sharp, determined gazes of his fellow students. They weren't just here to learn, they were here to dominate. The weight of the headmaster's words settled over him like a storm cloud. Could he navigate this unforgiving environment without losing himself? His first encounter with the academy's harsh reality came swiftly. During an afternoon class, a girl with a commanding presence pointed her weapon at him. "You're sitting in my spot," she said, her tone sharp and unyielding. "Does it have your name on it?" he shot back, his voice steady despite the tension building around them. Her smirk widened. "You've got guts, but guts won't save you here." The duel that followed was fierce, a clash of wills and strength. Despite his inexperience, he refused to back down. When it ended, he was battered but standing, a victory in its own right. Later that day, as he sat catching his breath, another student approached. He was tall, his demeanor relaxed, but his eyes sharp. "Not bad for your first day," the boy said, dropping into the seat beside him. "What do you want?" he asked cautiously. "A piece of advice," the boy replied. "This academy isn't what it seems. It's not just about winning fights. It's about surviving the ones you can't avoid." The cryptic warning hung in the air. Was this an ally offering help or a rival testing his resolve? In the midst of the hostility and mind games, he found an unexpected ally. She was quiet, almost unnoticeable in the chaos of the academy, but her observations were razor sharp. "You're different from the others," she said one evening, her voice calm yet firm. "That could be your greatest strength or your biggest weakness." He frowned. "Why help me? What's in it for you?" She didn't answer immediately, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon. Sometimes, helping someone else survive is the only way to survive yourself. Her words left him wondering, was she truly on his side, or was this another game? As the days passed, he began noticing strange patterns. Doors that remained locked at all times, whispered conversations that ceased when he approached, and a sense that the academy itself was hiding something. One night, his ally leaned closer, her voice barely audible. "This place isn't just about discipline. It's a test, but not the one they tell you about." "What kind of test?" he asked, the weight of her words sinking in. "To see who breaks first," she replied simply. The truth was unsettling, but it also sparked a determination in him. He wouldn't break. Not here, not now. The academy announced its first major trial, a brutal test designed to push every student to their limit. As he stood in the courtyard, his opponent stepped forward, a towering figure with years of experience. The fight was relentless, each strike testing his endurance and willpower. His opponent's strength was overwhelming, but he refused to yield. Then, with a calculated move, he turned the tide of the battle. The crowd erupted into murmurs as he stood victorious, his chest heaving from the effort. The headmaster's gaze bore into him, her expression unreadable. "You've passed this test," she said, her tone sharp, "but don't think for a moment that the hardest part is over." Despite his victory, unease lingered. What was the purpose of these trials? What lay ahead for those who succeeded? That night, as he stared at the stars, his thoughts spiraled. Was he fighting for survival or for something greater? His ally joined him, her presence a comforting contrast to his turmoil. "Do you ever wonder why you're really here?" she asked, her tone soft yet probing. "Every day," he admitted. "Then maybe it's time you started looking for answers," she said, her gaze steady. The whispers grew louder, the shadows darker. Late one evening, he stumbled upon a door he hadn't seen before. Its handle gleamed in the moonlight, as though inviting him to uncover its secrets. Before he could turn the knob, his ally appeared, her face pale. "Don't," she warned, her voice trembling. "Once you open that door, you'll never see things the same way." But he couldn't stop himself. The pull was too strong. As the door creaked open, the darkness inside seemed alive, pulling him in. He took a step forward, the weight of his choices pressing down on him. What secrets lay ahead? And would he regret uncovering them?